So I remember we had just failed to make enough money with Darwinia Plus, hadn't we?
Oh yeah,
And
I,
we'd
I love reliving this memory.
well, I do because it's a positive memory. It's a positive memory.
Yeah.
And the team had gone, the office had gone.
Well, in the way that like removing your leg when you're trapped under a giant boulder and about to die is a positive memory.
Because you come out of it on top.
Exactly, you made it out in the end.
Well, I can remember going to GDC that year, which you told me to look up, but I haven't.
I can't even remember what year it is.
Yeah, I think it was 2011. I think it was 2011, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we'd been to GDC a few times in the past, and we'd always had lots of different people to go and see and all the rest. But I remember going to GDC in 2011, flying to San Francisco with you, with one single objective, right?
Yeah.
And that was to get a Humble Bundle. That was the only reason we went over there, because they'd had a couple that
That's
we'd
right.
seen.
Yeah, they'd done the Humble Indie Bundle had happened, hadn't it? And
that's right.
If your memory is right, and it's 2011, would have been March 2011, then Prison Architect would have been designed by that point, because I did the design in August 2010. I just got the book out now and had a look.
Yeah, so I thought we had PA.
So we must have been just have started it.
But I can remember going over there, and because there was nothing like the Humble Indie Bundle in the industry, right? The only opportunity for money was to go and see a publisher and say, this is our design idea. And they would go, you dicks, you got your own game idea that you want me to fund?
Yeah.
That's what it was
That's
like.
Games industry circa 2010.
We had a back catalogue, and Valve, we could do sales with Valve, and I think we'd done quite a few sales, but Humble was just a new league, right? It was just in terms of the scale of these
yeah, that's
things.
right. Well, also, and it was completely mental as well, wasn't it? It had this pay what you want concept,
Yeah,
was completely wild, and they were doing mad stuff, weren't they? They were like giving away 10% just to charity straight away, and they were giving huge percentages to the developers themselves, which was unheard of.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like everything about it was upside down, and you could you could drag all the the sliders, you could drag all the sliders around.
Absolutely, and it completely. Genuinely, I'm not making this up. It revolutionised my view of economics and rationality. Before that, I think we'd even had the discussion at some point in our history.
Of course. Why would anyone pay anything? That means the average price is going to be 1 cent, isn't it? Obviously.
Yeah. But you find out that that's not how the human being operates. They will pay more than that, which is a really sort of heartwarming lesson.
Yeah,
so I remember,
and some people will pay a lot more, won't they? There used to be,
yes.
I don't know if they still get them, but there used to be like crazy generous anonymous donations, isn't there, from people?
Yeah.
Who just donate like 10 grand or something, in a single purchase.
Well, it was the whole exciting Kickstarter time as well, wasn't it? I can't quite remember the chronology, whether Kickstarter was before or after, but it was all in that mix, that suddenly there was a new way where there were people out there who'd enjoyed playing our games previously, trusted us to make new games, and were willing to have a punt, to say, there you go, guys, have $1,000 from me because you guys need it. Okay? But I remember going over there, and I remember going into the Wallfire offices and meeting John and Jeff, and having a really, it's nervous, right? It's nerve-wracking because it's kind of like you don't want to appear too hungry, but equally I knew what I wanted to get, and
well, it was important to us, wasn't it? Because we knew we were in. It's hard because it's hard for people to recognise now that we've had Prison Architect that we were actually in very shaky grounds.
Oh yeah.
In 2010 and 2011 and probably 2009 and 2008, if we're being really honest about it. Yeah, we were really struggling month to month to keep the company going and to keep the dream alive.
There are a few moments in the history of Introversion that I can directly point at. And I have done in the past, and say those were the moments where we, from the help of another individual, Introversion continued. Kieran Gillen, right at the beginning, with his review in PC Gamer. Valve, I think, absolutely looking back.
Publishing Darwinia on Steam, second game.
That's right.
Second non-Valve game on Steam.
That's right. And certainly Humble, absolutely. And so we were in there talking to the guys, and the next day, I can't, again, it's a long time ago, wasn't it? But I remember they said, do you want to come and play disc golf?
Yeah.
The day after. Do you remember that?
I remember the disc golf well, yeah.
And that was brilliant. I loved that so much. And John was like fucking Thor, right?
Yeah. Do you think we need to explain what disc golf is to anyone that doesn't live in San Francisco?
No, I think that's a topic for another time. And in the current lockdown, right?
Yeah, he was a beast, wasn't he? He was an absolute beast, wasn't he? Every throw just went in.
That's right. There was like no limit.
There was like 20 of us, like 20 different indie developers all there, weren't they? And a bunch of indie developer girlfriends and a bunch of indie developer boyfriends and us. And if I remember correctly, you and I were battling vigorously for last place.
Yeah, but it was a battle between you and me, mate, and that's all we ever care about.
Position 18 and 19, Mark and Chris. Or is it Chris and Mark? It's really important to us.
Yeah, it's important to us. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was such a good day. But I do remember that we closed the deal out there. You know. Yeah. Now there were details that we had to work out about exactly what games was going to go in there. Oh, that's my cockapoo in the background. Oh, you're such professional.
You can't say that.
Hang on, Watson. You have to go. Hang on.
All right. It's not the first time your cockapoo has got you in trouble, is it?
See, what I like, mate, is even though we've not made a video for a little while, we're still consummate professionals.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely. The magic is still there, isn't it?
We're meant to be talking about Humble, and my cockapoo comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'd worked it all out, wouldn't it? And then
it was like it was the Humble Introversion bundle, wasn't it? We kind of bundled all of our games. Prison Architect didn't exist then, so we were just working on it in the background. And I think we bundled some of our tech demos as well, like a Subversion tech demo, didn't we, and stuff like that. It was a really good bundle. And a completely mental concept, that we would put that up for sale at basically you can pay whatever you want. Because just literally a year earlier, we would have thought that we would make about $10 from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would just completely devalue our games forever, and no one would ever pay for them ever again. It's like
that's right.
Apocalyptic viewpoint of what bundles and sales would do to us.
Yes, absolutely. And it launched the 22nd of November. And I remember the night it launched. There was a leak in the roof of my flat, right? And we'd moved. The building company had moved us to another flat, so we were in there. Right. And I was sat with my laptop up. I remember it, and you were as well. And we both had a bottle of wine. Yeah. Because finally we could afford wine again. Yeah. We're drinking this, and we're kind of chatting with John and Jeff over on the other side, and we trended on Twitter. Yeah. Right? Yeah. For a brief moment. And Will Wheaton, Wesley, tweeted about us. Do you remember?
I do remember that, yeah.
I was
Wesley Shut up, God. Wesley.
We're on Wesley's radar. That is so cool.
Oh, that is really cool, yeah. Oh, he's an ultra nerd these days, isn't he? I think he's well in the games world.
Yeah, well, he always was,
How did he get involved? Was he one of the big donators or something? I can't remember.
No, I think he just... I can't remember whether he certainly tweeted about it. Yeah. He certainly tweeted, and it was something like, whatever, great opportunity to get great games from Introversion. But Humble went from strength to strength, didn't they? I mean, we've had lots of good times with them when they've come over,
Yeah, we've done a few more. We've been in a few more bundles since then, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can remember being in Cambridge Indies, which is a sort of little local indies group that I used to meet up with back in the day. And I can remember specifically 1 or 2 times going to that, and there was only like 10 or 12 other indie developers all sat around in a coffee shop in Cambridge. And that particular month, by coincidence, about half the people there had something in the Humble Indie bundle. Right, they were either in the immediate bundle or they were in the kind of pay extra and you get this part of the bundle or whatever. And it was just like a massive success, Everyone was hugely excited. For some of the developers that were there, having coffee in this coffee shop, it was like genuinely life-changing money for them. And it had been that for us when we had our Humble Introversion bundle, because it had been, if that hadn't come off, probably we would have closed Introversion, and probably Prison Architect wouldn't exist right now. I would say absolutely. We just wouldn't have developed it. We wouldn't have been able to afford to pay any of the people that worked on it, and we'd all be working for who knows who at this point.
Yeah, maybe Humble.
Maybe Humble. That's the difference, isn't it? That's the difference that it can make. That round of disc golf, was worth its weight in gold.
A gold disc.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there literally could have been bars of gold in those in those holes in the disc golf, and it would not have been worth us picking them up.
Well,
it would have been more worth us talking to the guys.
I don't think we got anywhere near a hole anyway, mate, when we were playing disc golf.
Yeah, you might not. My memory is that I won by 1 point. I'd be very interested to know what your memory is.
That's always your memory.
Yeah.
You know that I'm never going to be able to remember these things.
I defeated you by 1 point, if I'm not
mistaken.
1
point, yeah. I'm sure you did, mate.
Yeah, suffice to say, we're both terrible. And I think the humble guys were really quite nice about it, weren't they? They're like, oh, yeah, there must have been a gust of wind.
Yeah.
There must have been a bit of a tectonic plate shift underground. San Francisco is built on a fault line, isn't it? It's built on a fault line.
They call it the Windy City then. There was that.
Yeah, that's right. It's got its microclimates and everything, hasn't it? So
that's right.
Every time we threw the disc, there was some sort of microclimate event, or a minor earthquake or something, and it just threw it off. I'm sure of it.
Just moved. Anyway, 10 years, humble. We salute you.